All right, recording in progress. We're not going to say anything evil, so that's fine. Okay, so a couple of things, announcements. The first announcement is that I've been, following, SpaceX and XAI's development over the, couple of months. And I think I got some of their subscription on a discount. And I think they are still running like a promotion where like $30, you get, 3 months of Grok, code to do your stuff. And maybe like, with $5, you'll be able to test, some of the, things that they are bringing. I don't know how things are going, but the pace at which SpaceX and XAI is moving, I think like with the pace at which they are moving, I think they are going to be very competitive with the other, frontier, models, like OpenAI, Anthropic, and, others as well. But I've been trying, Grok 4.5. And, for you, Bernice, this is what I've been using to sort of like, build the app for, the guidance and counseling, app for, students in Ghana and Africa. So a lot of the, building, it's, really coming from, Grok, and it's really fast. But what I really want to highlight is their voice mode or voice agent. And from the benchmark and things, it seems like I can show you. It seems like overall they are performing, like better than many other people, especially Gemini, GPT. And also 11 Labs. I use 11 Labs a lot, but it looks like the lower the better. So red is the newest Grok voice model, and you could see that they're performing better compared to the other models. We will try like how to build maybe like a voice agent. I feel like this is something that is within your domain right now. It's like no or low code. And you could build, things like, personal assistants to be able to read, people's, calendar or your calendar or for a business or something. Or even, build something that you could try out at a university now. You could do, things like, customer support, um, or like, create, customs, one as well. So we would look at that after our announcement. So that's one thing to keep on your radar. The other thing I want to talk about is the open weight, models that are coming out. So last week there was this model by a Chinese company called Moonshot AI. They released, Kimi 3. I think we spoke about it last week. But there is also a model released by an American company called Thinking Machines, which are the people who were previously in OpenAI and now sort of like separated themselves to build, something, different, like how Anthropic, started out. And their mission is to build like, open source, open weights, model. And the previous week they released Inkling, their first, model, which is 975 billion, parameters. You could, think of it as, words. And then they released like a smaller version of it. And from what I'm reading, the performance, it's not like too different or comparable to the bigger model, right? But then from what I'm reading, you can still run this on a laptop. You might need something like a specialized computer or HPC to run it, but it's small enough to be able to run maybe like on a MSK's computers, or maybe in on Quest computers as well. So, topics, for today. I know, Humphrey, we've been really talking about this, embedding, and it's something we saw like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I think it's very important we sort of like get a pictorial overview of, what embedding is. And then we could continue with the Cloud Code, SDK. We could just look at just one line, just one file, and really explain what it's doing, and then we'll build on it for others. And I would also want us to try, like try building, like a voice agent. This is something you could do now and, probably go to a business maybe in Kumasi. Like I'm gonna pose this question to you, like in Humphrey and Bennett. Which which institutions or organizations do you think will make use of a voice agent? Humphrey, Bennett, Moses. There's a question to you.
Maybe.
Maybe in Ghana, like let's make it, in Ghana. Which institutions do you think will gladly pay you for a voice agent?
I'm thinking the School of Disability here at KNUST. Maybe they have some blind students
Okay.
uh, or visually impaired students, and then maybe generally teachers could be able to use this to. Happy says private schools. I don't know how or why, but private schools too.
Private schools. Why are private schools
Yes,
best,
happy. Why private schools?
are the best customers of a voice agent?
But
All
Sally,
right.
sorry, I forgot to
Is that
answer.
a
I will
question?
ask my question after.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying private schools because they are quite in the they have the capacity to be able to fund some of these things.
Mhm.
But what I think, in addition to the private schools in Ghana, is
Mhm.
maybe this restaurants where you order food, especially those that you have to order food from.
Mhm.
You probably can interact with maybe um, an agent, and that can be done with voice, I think.
Right.
And maybe if you want to work with these customer services, we have so many private companies, and then yes, you will need a voice agent for some of that. And yeah, there are some companies where you have to work to, maybe the ministries, you have to go and make inquiries on some of these things.
Right. The ministries. Yes, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. And
Yeah.
sometimes, um, Ghana is one of the biggest countries for cocoa production,
Mhm.
and have some farmers who have some concerns. They need to ask genuine questions and also report on certain things on their farms,
Right.
on fertilizer use, pesticides, and other stuff like that. Probably you can get voice agents to help. So
Mhm.
they report their observations, if possible, take pictures and share and all that. I think that could also be applied.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
really like the way you're like, really thinking, like, applications and use cases and institutions, that would, like gently or heavily embrace innovations, like this to either deliver value or cut down on like the process of fulfillment. And so on and so forth. Paz, you had a question?
No, I think Ansley kind of alluded into it. So it's more about what are the applications that we need to think about that voice agents can help us with. Um, so I think to be we need to be application centered kind of thinking because it's all about, as you know, what is the value that an agent can bring in, and
Mhm.
then we need to figure out if the value worth the investment because it costs money. It's not for free.
It's not for free. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so first of all, we need to understand applications, but also kind of do something like cost cost benefit analysis for such applications and see where these can, you know, can generate enough um, economical advantage, or doesn't need to be economical advantage, but it can be a health advantage that we don't have so far. But it again needs to be done with the mindset of the product.
The mindset of a product. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, application and product and the value.
Okay.
And but what did you think, Sam, about where voice? Where do you see? So voice agents can be, for example, when I do car rental and I have questions about the car rental, I now contact the car rental car, and most of the time in the past I will talk uh, to human representative, but now I'm talking to agents, basically AI agents that answer my questions, and usually they do a good job, like almost like a human. So um, it's this is example where um, like you can see the value of an agent. Um, but yeah, so need to think about the applications. I don't know. You said private school, so where do you think in private schools you don't have enough human help, that you need an AI agent? Like, do you have an example? Humphrey or Bernice or Sam?
Well, I mean, if I could, jump in, maybe they have, their reasons, but the reasons could also be stemming from, who, which people, are willing to pay or will be in a position to pay for, like a service, like this. In my opinion, I think any business that has like a, customer service, like a customer service, facing, components, would, make good use of a voice agent. However, as you were saying, the these things are not free. So, like, if you do like the cost benefits analysis, that's the, cost to implement a voice agent and run a voice agent in a particular, business. Um, you know, does it, exceed, or is it, lower than, just, having, someone 24/7 by the clock to make sure, things are done. And also the level of, complexity or action, of attacks, right? So if, someone has to read through like large, couples, of data to be able to make a decision, um, you know, like, that is, time. But if voice agents will be able to, ingest the, voice and be able to think through a large, corpus of, data very fast, then I think, that's an alpha. But also, if the entire, cost of running is so much high, then the business, cannot really pay. So to summarize, I think, the mention of private school, it's, probably due to like, which people will be willing to, pay when you compare private versus public, schools. But I also guess your question is which areas of the private school will the voice agents be? Admissions, recruitments, inquiries, and even for like, admins, as well, right? So scheduling, with, parents, scheduling with, teachers, and like, really making sure that, things run, without like roadblocks. That is my opinion. There are presets.
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
like
but you can think, for example, sorry that I'm pushing it a bit outside
no,
of
you have to
science,
push
but
it. Like this is what we are here for.
yeah, but
To really
yeah, no, I'm
think
thinking
about it.
about a lot of time. I'm trying to, I don't know, call a business, and there is only one person. You know, like some businesses are managed by one person or 2%,
Mhm.
and then I want to call during business hours, but also outside of the business hours, and even
Mhm.
in business hours. I don't know how many or how often it happened to people here that they called and no one answered them. Um, and you don't want to have, I don't know, some kind of rigid automated messaging system. You want to really talk to someone who can answer your questions. So I feel like the agentic AI can, voice agents can, and you call for, I don't know how is it in Ghana, but a lot of in Israel where or in the US, you do a lot of the calls from the road. You call someone, you know, you're in the car, you go, you travel by car, and then you cannot type, of course, when you travel because it's dangerous and can risk your life and others. So you usually you do a phone call, like you're supposed to do a phone call. Um, so I'm thinking about if you want to call a restaurant or the city or I don't know some business, it will be really nice when they can answer you and you can talk to them. And and it's very expensive to have a human that always answer. And then if it's a very popular business, you need multiple human to you
Yeah.
know to interact with the customers. I feel like with agentic AI, you can scale it quickly. Like you don't need now multiple, I don't know, how do you call it, the people that answer the call. So, I feel this is example for voice agent that um, like that can help me a lot if each business will have it and has access to the domain knowledge of the business. This will have been very useful uh, for me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
what.
as you were talking, one thing I also thought about was like a personal voice agent to take decisions on your behalf. Right. So whether like a business or like an industry is, early or, late adopter, um, of, AI and, voice agents. Can you, provide like a voice agent with like a minimal information, about you to take decisions on your behalf, like maybe to, schedule, staff, um, to schedule staff to make, complaints, about like, issues that may be arising, and to like, really get things done and, probably send you like a summary of whatever action that was taken for a particular day, or something. I guess this is what, things like, Hermes and the like OpenClaw are trying to do also. But, definitely, I think, there is, room to like, really innovate, like, personal voice agents that would be sort of like, I don't want to use the word, clone because it may seem a little bit dystopian, but that would be, like voice, clone of you to really, take action. Probably that's what Mark Zuckerberg was talking about this week. Um, like the like the future of AI, it's like personalized, AI. So I don't know if you saw it. Um,
No,
did you see it?
yeah, no, didn't. I'm barely managed to keep up with all the advances in AI. I need an AI agent that clone myself to follow all of these developments. Too much things are going
Too
on.
much things going on. Well, I mean, I could also make, this for you, like, every day, and it's also on our website, right? So every day, 9 a.m., there's, something, like called, briefing. I want to know a couple of things, for me. I want to see how, like, the AI for science, field, it's like, really going, like, which direction it's really going. I want to see how, like, the frontier models are converging because, like, they are more or less doing, like, similar things, right? And I want to see how they are converging and what are some of the offerings that, they are, like, really giving us for us to do our stuff. So every morning I get this, like, AI for science. OpenAI is giving, like 100,000, researchers GPT access. DeepMind, I saw it in the news. It's here as well. They're disbanding the AlphaFold, team. One of the guys at DeepMind came, I think, yesterday and said, "Oh, that's not really true." But the people in the lab have, agency to be able to do whatever that they want, and that's what they are doing, and not necessarily throwing people away. This is new to me, but I think it's something I can look it up. So for free offerings, these are here. Um, and then, this has been, captured again. AI cell labs, generalists, right? I don't know what this is, but in terms of, hardware and, cost, I'm also very interested in how um, the cost of AI is like maybe like, increasing or, decreasing. I think
Some,
I also, yeah,
yeah, I don't think we need to go into all of this. I don't know how much people are interested, but I think what you're saying is that you are every day you can create you can have a voice agent that can basically gen you can talk to and generate the update on the news, for example, the local news
yep,
on agentic AI or any topic that you are interested
okay, yeah,
in. In addition, I don't know how much people are aware of it, but in the US, there is also many companies that are trying to produce kind of agents that help in therapy, in a kind of um, like a psychologist and therapist. So this is also kind of a movement in the US that there's many companies that try to enable people kind of to have a support agent that you can talk to and they can help you with your kind of personal um,
right,
challenges and difficulties. So there are many companies like that, and obviously it's easier for some people. It's easier to have voice agent, and some people like more writing agents. But it's again, it's the application here is a therapist that you can talk with and help you to kind of can help you with I don't know how to say like understanding yourself and someone you and show empathy and supporting. Um, some of them supporting, some of them are analysts. So it depends on the kind of the therapy or the agents that you want to do. So this is another movement into the voice agent.
yeah. Um, Yeah, so with that, I can demonstrate how to like really create like a really small voice agent with some of the prefix ones, and maybe we could also try creating something from scratch. But let's see. So I'm gonna put this in the chat, and if you have access to it, but if you have access to XAI, you could follow along with us. Let me see if I do Ignito. Will I get it? All right, so I'm sure this is what I get. And if you're trying to sign in, now Google. Right, okay. So I've already signed in. Right, so I'm just going to demonstrate, to you. So, assuming, you sign in, with the link, I'm sure they're going to ask you to, top up, some credit, that's fine. I may have like, $5 already there, so that's fine. So you sign in and then I think you go to the voice agent. Of course, there's, the code, Grok 4.5, the latest, but you could go to the code, to the voice agent. And then you could go to, the place where you could create an agent. There are prefix agents that, templates that you could choose from. You could also create like something like, very, customized, maybe like voice agents to really control your, computer, which is, something I'm really looking at.
I like the customer support, self associate. Uh,
Yeah, let's try this, right?
yeah, yeah, it's already the building the infrastructure for businesses.
Yeah.
So whatever you need for, as we discussed about businesses, they need support, client support or schedule support. Yeah, so this is great.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are templates and I click on the, customer, support. And like it's taking me through, the process of, creating, the voice agents. I hope, you are following, everyone. Um,
Sam, how
so,
do you interact? How do you interact? Sorry, did someone has a question?
oh, I think,
How do you interact with it? Like, how do you do it in practice?
I
Do
think that's
I
what we
like,
do.
can I call? Can you set up something and then I can call it with a phone number?
Yep. Yep. So
Yep.
this is something that I set up.
Okay.
I don't think I have deployed it. Have I added my number? No. So this is something that I have already, set up. Um, and so this is the number. I don't know if it's been, so it's live. So Paz, could you try calling this number? If I call it, you would think
Hmm, One,
that I'm a
yeah,
scammer.
1 second. I will call the number. Don't do anything. I will call the number.
Okay, I was trying to send it to the chat.
No, I don't move. Don't do anything.
I want you to see
One
that this
second.
is possible. I'm not scamming you people. I'm free. And
One,
Dennis.
1 second. Let's see. I would like to meet Sam.
We cannot hear.
Ah,
If you could put it on speaker, that would be great. Yeah.
Paz is muted.
no, now I'm not muted. Okay. I will call again the number.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we have the.
Hi, this is your personal assistant. How can I help you today?
First of all, Guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear the
Yeah.
agent? Can you hear the... Okay, I
Yeah.
would like to make appointment with Sam.
I'd be happy to help you schedule an appointment with Sam. Get this set up. Could you tell me what day and time works for you and how long the appointment should be? If you have Sam's email address, that would help me invite him directly. Once I have those details, I can check the calendar and create the appointment.
Guys, can you hear it or not so much?
We can hear you. So maybe say you would like to create the appointment for July 10th.
Give me
July 30th.
August 10
Okay,
or July
August 10. Yeah, let's do August 10.
at 10 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, August 10, 10 a.m. I think this is the calendar I connected, so.
Okay, but why the agent call me Travis? Do you know? Okay, let me try. So you set up the agent and now this agent is talking to me. This is so cool. And is it connected to your calendar, the personal assistant?
Yeah, this is the calendar it's connected to. It's a different, calendar.
Give me a date where you have put something on I don't know next week. Go to next week.
Okay.
Next week is
Monday, put something at 10 a.m. 10 a.m.
Okay.
Say meeting with I don't know meeting
with
something with Alex. Okay. So now let's see. I will call again and I will ask to schedule. And this is Eastern time, no?
Yeah, this is EDT. Yeah.
Okay. So I will try to schedule on August 3rd at 10 a.m. and
Mm-hmm.
let's see what the agent will say.
Okay. Let's see.
But he's also asking for your email.
I,
Happy to help. You tell me what you need. It seems like your message might have gotten cut off. If you're looking to schedule something or prioritize tasks, just let me know the details.
I would like to schedule a meeting with Sam Auno at August. Sorry.
I'd be happy to help schedule a meeting with Sam in August. To get this set up, could you share your preferred date in August, a time that works for you, and how long the meeting should be? Once I have those details, I can check availability and create the event.
I would like to meet him at August 3rd, August 3 at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
I'll check Sam's availability for August 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. First, I'll need Sam's email address to check his calendar. Do you have his email address handy? If you can share it, I'll check if he's free at that time and help set up the meeting.
1 second. I'm waiting for his email. What
so,
is your email?
so mentioned.
I'm an AI assistant. I don't have a personal email address since I'm an AI. If you need to reach the person who owns this account directly, I can transfer the call to them. Once you have Sam's email, just let me know, and I'll check his availability for August 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern.
So the email is kwameistudio@gmail.com.
So the email is oh,
Got it. I'll check Sam's availability for August 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern Time using cwendastudio@gmail.com. It looks like I couldn't find a calendar for that email address. Could you double check the spelling of Sam's email to make sure it's correct? If it's right but not shared with this account, I can help create the meeting on your calendar and send him an invite instead.
The
So
email is kwameaistudio@gmail.com.
I'll check availability for kiaimenstudio@gmail.com on August 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm still not finding a calendar for that email. Since I can only access calendars connected to this account, I can't check Sam's directly. I can create the meeting on your calendar.
Please use the email that connected to this account, to your account.
I'll create the meeting on the connected accounts calendar and invite Sam at kiaimenstudio@gmail.com. To create the event, I'll need a few more details from you. What's the meeting title and how long should it last? If you'd like a Google Meet link or any other details, just let me know those too. Once I have that, I can create the event right away.
The meeting is on Agentic AI.
I'll create a 1-hour meeting on Agentic AI for August 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern, inviting Sam at kiaimenstudio@gmail.com. Your meeting on Agentic AI has been created successfully. Sam has been invited to kiaimenstudio@gmail.com, and a Google Meet link is included. If you'd like to make any changes or need help with anything else, just let me know.
Does Sam have another meeting at that time?
I wasn't able to check Sam's calendar directly since it's not connected to this account.
Sorry.
You can connect Sam's calendar to this account.
If the owner of this account has another meeting at that time.
I'll check the owner's calendar for any conflicts at that time. The owner already has a meeting scheduled from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern on August 3rd. Would you like me to help find another available time or make any adjustments to this meeting?
Yes, please adjust this meeting to the next available 1 hour on the owner account email calendar.
I'll search for the next available 1-hour slot on the owner's calendar after August 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern. The owner is free for the entire period from 11 a.m. on August 3rd through the end of August 4th. I've updated the meeting to 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern on August 3rd. Sam will receive an updated invitation at kiaimenstudio@gmail.com. If you'd like to check for any other conflicts or make further changes, just let me know.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You're welcome. Have a great day too.
Okay. This was quite amazing. First of all, amazing that they understood me. This is already a great achievement. But second, it was really nice. Of course, we need to improve it, but you can see we schedule a meeting on the calendar without we didn't need even to look into in the calendar. We need next time to say deal with don't schedule anything with a conflict. But
yeah,
but this was amazing.
yeah.
What people thought about it.
Guys, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's great. So like I mentioned, we are solving problems outside biology, science. These companies that do deliveries like restaurants, even in science, sometimes you want to purchase equipment, consumables, reagents, and all these things. And also ask how soon you're likely to get it, shipment and other things. You can track these things, I think, using an AI, a voice agent actually. Yeah, so outside science, restaurants to order for food. Maybe you want to block a time for other people in other countries. Maybe you want to trim your hair, you want to book an appointment, you want to go to the hospital, see a physician, you want to book an appointment. Even legal issues and all that, I think you would need a voice agent to interact with. So getting back to science, you have a product, people need to make inquiries in that. You need agents to have that. Maybe if you're a biotech company, and then you need people want to make inquiries on certain things. They get some primers from you. They need to find out certain things. They need to complain about the products and all those things. They can use the agent to lodge such complaints. And then, yeah, I think I should give the opportunity to others to also share their opinions. But I think this was actually great in scheduling. Yeah.
Jocelyn, what do you think? Jocelyn is my intern this summer, and she will present in 2 weeks some of the work we did some of the work we did with Cloud Life Sciences and Philo. But Jocelyn, maybe sorry to put you on the spot, but you can introduce yourself and maybe say what you think we can do with voice agents.
Hey everyone, I'm Jocelyn. I'm currently like a graduate student at Northwestern University. Yeah, I think it's like amazing like using the voice AI and it perform like much better than the normal like AI when I call like the bank. Yeah, it's just like answer slow for those like normal AI. And I think like the scheduling meeting and also like can check on the email and all this agenda looks cool to me.
Yeah, and it's a good point, point that Jocelyn mentioned. A lot of time there is now banks in like a new type of bank in Latin America that is focused on young people. You wanted to open account, you needed to go to a branch, meet some person, schedule a meeting. They will do a lot of, at least in Brazil, you need to go to meet some kind of older person that doesn't understand young people needs and um, and they will do a lot of checks, and if you don't have certain kind of amount of money, they will give you uh, they will open account with less advantages compared to other people. And people figure out that with AI and machine learning and plus digital digital services, you can reduce a lot of the risk in one end that related to people who just joining the workforce. Plus, in addition, it's you can get answer and do operation much quicker with kind of digital services. And with agentic, it's even much better now. So I think this is again something that will transform how we do banking and get loans and get mortgages in
Yeah.
yeah. So
I think Sandra is back. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Like you can create your own agents, right now. Like, and you can even make, custom ones. Like I saw someone making like the Tony Stark Iron Man, where you just talk to the computer, hey, fire up, this application and that thing and that and that. I think, personally, for me, I think this is, something I may explore in the coming weeks, So, but in terms of, business, this is something you could do. You just have to make sure to do, like the cost, benefit analysis to make sure that, wherever, that it's been, deployed, they are aware of the costs. And, that's it. That's the benefit in a way, the cost and, basically try it for like a couple of months. And then if they like it, they can, really, do it. You can set up businesses now, just for AI applications and, automations and stuff. And give me a cut.
Sure.
Yeah. So like, that's not, I know this is not, scientific, but it's supposed to, like really, prick your mind and your brain about some of these things. Okay, we could, go to the next, item, briefly. It's either we, like we look at this thing. I explain, this line to you. Um, like, just this, or maybe this and that. I just explain to you. And then, you go home and try it. And then I explain a little bit, the ideas of embedding to you. And then, you go home and try it. Okay. So last week we were talking about, like if you go to chatgpt, .com, right? This is what you see. How can I help you today? What's going on? You type your messages and you go. Um, if you have maybe, like large files, like 10 terabyte, 5 terabytes, something, it may be very practical to load it here. Now, ChatGPT and Claude cannot have access to your, file system. They don't know the documents, the files that are in your document, right? So there must be a way to, connect, your files on your documents, in your documents, your downloads, in your file system to the, AI. And like when I say AI, I'm talking about, the frontier models, like Claude, Claude Code, sorry, like Claude and, ChatGPT. Okay. And this is the web, version. This is what we've been using for like a really long time, and modern like web versions have been improved a lot. Now there are things like connectors, skills, extensions, and computer use and all these kind of things. There are sandboxes, which is like little computers that the agents is able to spin up in the cloud somewhere to be able to run some code and give you your answers. That's why you're able to render things, like, HTML, get HTML as inputs and get, text files as inputs when you, sorry, as outputs when you request for it on the web, right? But as I was mentioning, as, things, get bigger, it becomes very impractical to like, really do it on the web. If you want an integrated, system of the AI with your file system and to be able to do things, really fast, you may need, things, like, agents. So we saw like, different, flavors of agents. These are coding agents. So this is Claude Code on your, computer terminal. So if you go to the terminal, right now, if you go to the terminal, we've seen this 10,000 times. But if you go to terminal, you go to projects. I have a couple of things in the personal. Like personally, I have a couple of things that I'm working on. And if I do Cloud, this thing is gonna open up. Ignore this. This is an error on my end, a warning on my end, but just ignore it. All right, this is Cloud Code. All right. And if I ask it, what are the files on my computer? What are the files in? Okay, all right. Thanks, Paz. Thanks for joining me. So if I say what are the files in this directory, directory is the same as folder, all right? what are the files in this folder, you're gonna, list it, for us. If I'm on the web and I ask, this question, it wouldn't be able to do it. All right. So you see, when I ask what are the files in this folder, you run a command ls, minus dash la, and then this directory, and it's giving me, this list, right? So this is more like, a summary. There's a coding agent. Some people refer to it as a harness. Of course, it's a harness. And as time goes on, you see the differences between agents and harnesses as well. I don't like fully understand it, but I'm sure we're going to understand it with time. Right. So this is you could call this like an agent, right? But people refer this as a harness because it does like more things than just coding. Okay. It's the same thing. This is the Claude Code app, and there is, like there is the code, like the Claude Code, right? So this is the Claude Code app, right? And then your chats are here, but then you could, toggle between the chats and the code, and you could do stuff. You could select a particular directory to work in. And you could now I think you could even connect to like a remote server to be able to do your things. So like SSH into like Quest or your university's system, you could do it from here, which is very convenient. But then I would employ you or encourage you to check with your local institutions the policies about running some of these agents on your systems. Okay. So we saw this. These things are powerful, right? They can do almost the things that we do. And then now there is even Claude Science, which is specifically for scientific research, right? So you have an analysis you want to do. It's been sort of like trained and sort of like like purposely built to be able to answer scientific questions and be able to sort of like tease out the scientific insights from your data, and not like really like you know throw you off when you ask like a biology or a life science question, right? So this is Claude Science, right? um and like these are things that I'm working on, like definitely using it to generate ideas, generate like run some of my analysis and really dig deeper about some of the things that I do. So in summary, these are the various, like, flavors of, chatbots, agents, and all those kind of type. Don't get confused. Like it can seem confusing, but these are the various, flavors, right? Now you could see that all these things are pre-built, right? So someone built this, the guy, the team lead is like, is it Boris Chani, or so. Someone built the application, which you could download on your Mac or Windows. Someone built, the website, right? And previous week we saw, from prompt to an answer, it's a long, list of stuff, right? Someone builds these systems. Um, However, you could also like sometimes you may want to do, things your own, and not because you want to show off, but then you really want to customize services, products, and applications for your use cases, for your business, for your work, um, for your projects and all this kind of stuff. Right? And you also want to have the ability to be able to switch different models. This is ChatGPT, this is Claude, tomorrow, like, this is Grok. Oh, why you? This is Grok, right? Um, but sometimes also you want to be able to switch, pick and switch, models, based on your, use cases. For example, I have found out that, ChatGPT, right, the ChatGPT models are very good in biology, image, generation. Right? If you want to generate, images, like, generate images about some biology mechanisms, test tubes, beaker, and all those kind of things, pipettes, and like graphs, flow cytometry, schematic, diagrams and all those kind of things. ChatGPT is really good. Grok is fast, but it's really terrible with generating scientific images. It could generate photorealistic images about, spaceships and other things, humans and all those kind of things. But, it's not like, really good, with that. Claude cannot generate like some of these nice biology images because I think its focus it's more with code. All right, it will try to generate SVGs and Benio tokens and so on and so forth. It does well in front end images and so on and so forth. Right, so being able to pick and choose, right, it's a great motivation to be able to build things that would like to build things and customize things on your own. Um, we've also been talking about open weight models. These are all paid. I mean, it's great. It's serving us at a cost. Um, but as like go to industries with high sort of like regulations and compliance, you may need to set up things that are a little bit how do you call it? Like things that maybe like send your data elsewhere, and like really focus on your business operations. So issues like with data sharing could be mitigated by like open weight open source models where you host the models, right? So these are some of the motivations. Okay. So with that, like, if you want to make the cake yourself, right, buy the ingredients and make the cake yourself, right? There are like a few ways, to go about it. You could write, scripts, right? So this is a Python script. There's also, you could, generate, TypeScript. So you could write, scripts, right? So this is a script. It's, basically a file. You could save this as a file and run it at your terminal, or something. And then what this is doing is basically importing libraries, right? So it's going to import a library, and then from a particular library, it's going to import, some, models and all those kind of things. We'll talk about it. And then you really define what you really want to do. And then, as you could see, in ChatGPT, you write, your prompt here. It's not proactive. It's sort of like, waiting for you to give it an action, to be done, right? So you write your prompt, here, and this is your box where you, really write your prompt. When you go to this is Claude code. Please don't get confused. This is Claude code. It's waiting for me to write something. It's waiting for me to write something. What can you do for me next? I need to know what I want to do next, but I don't know what I want to do next. So I'm going to ask Claude code, what should I do next? I'm just gonna run some commands, look through my computer, my, work directory and be like, okay. This is what you've been working on. I see you've got here. Maybe you have a vision or like a plan in your directory, files like agents.md, cloud.md, readmd. These are all files that really inform any agents what's really going on and what needs to be done, right? So as you could see here, it says, here's what I found. It's grounded and not, guesswork. This is the situation. This is my recommendation, 20 points, something, so on and so forth, yada, 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 yada. Okay. So, sorry. Yeah. So you need, if you're writing, a script to really cobble some of the, various capabilities of what has already been, done for you, you may need to define things, like the prompt, right? So this is defined. In this case, you define the prompt, like pre-hand. It's not like interactive, right? So you're going to run this code once and, that's it. You could also create the, script in such a way that it will be interactive and to be waiting for the user to type in a prompt to really take an action, right? So this is more like a fixed, script, right? So this is the prompt, right? This is the prompt, right? As you can see, there is something called auto mode here. I think it's more like, permissions. So accepts edits on, plan mode on, check below here. Auto mode on. Okay. So these are all like, you know, permission, levels that you could set. So auto mode means Claude decides what what decides what permission to give itself. And things that pose maybe serious security risks, it'll ask you, oh, by the way, can I do this? Right. So these are ways to sort of set, permissions, and you give it, some tools. So this is the prompt is, fix the bug in the code. And then there are some, tools you want to give it, like read, edit, bash. All right. So read files, you are able to edit files, and you could also run, bash, scripts of like bash command, like, ls, like, pwd, and, other stuff, right? And then, yeah, print, the results, or print, the message, right? Yeah, and then basically run everything. So this is more, like it's, static, right? This is an agent, this is it. This is it. But it's doing just one thing. It's, it is basically fixing the errors in the code. So that means there should be a file called, authentication, like auth.py. This is the building blocks of the agent. That's it. That's it. We can also look at this, example. Oops. So that will be not clear. We could also look at, like a little bit of, example, here. You're gonna import, some libraries, from the Claude Agent SDK, library. You could import, things like, query and, Claude Agents, option. So think of it, like, think of it as a, I want to use this example, but think of this as a library. Okay. So like if you go to a library, maybe let's say the maybe like a public maybe library in London or like in England or something, or one of the famous library in New York City, the Metropolitan Library. Um, like oh sorry, so the Metropolitan Museum, right? But there is a New York Public, library. If you go to a library, there are, sections, right? So maybe there is like, a history, section, right? And under the history, section, there are various, types of, history books that you could read. Medieval history, prehistory, European history, African history, and all those kind of things, right? So you go to a library, um, and then you could say, like from maybe, this, particular, library, I want you to go to the history section and maybe the business, section, right? However, in this case, it's not just, books. You could have maybe like objects and artifacts in the library. And then maybe some of these, objects, can do, things. So if you've done a little bit of, programming, there are things called, I think methods, so you go to a library, you go to a particular section, and then you basically import, that section, okay? And then you use things in that, section, for your staff, right? So the Claude agent, options, this is it. Some of the things that, it could do is that it could, help you, specify some of the tools, the allowed, tools, and there are other things, as well. For the query, right, some of the things that are within, the query or the capabilities of the query, module, choosing my words, is to help you specify a prompt and help you specify, your options. It could seem a little bit confusing, but you could also use Claude Code to write some of these things. But I think it's very important to understand some of the, building, blocks. You want to query the AI or the LLM, right? And you want it to do something for you. So you need to give it a prompt, okay? Like how we write the prompts in the box. And it needs, some options to be able to operate, right? If you want it to be hands off, that's fine. You could also set it. But if you want some fine grain, tuning, then you need to use, the options, and then, use this guide to really fine tune the various, options, that you want to set. So the take home is that I would want you to, like, really, go home and, probably, try, this too, scripts, and tried with not just auths, like, tried with like any file that, you want, and basically see, what you get. And then maybe, like, you could report, back to me, last week. And then maybe we could learn how to deploy it, like how we deployed, like the voice agents, no code, so you can easily deploy it. I'm sure some of you have seen, skills in your various research and applications, connectors. So you want to connect maybe your email and other services. So in the voice agents, I had my email and I had to connect it to, I had to connect the voice agent to, Gmail. So I use, things like, connectors. Skills is basically like a manual of how things are done, of how you want things, to be done. Some of the things that we do are, sort of like, general. No one needs a manual to walk unless you're on a runway or, something, right? You don't need a manual to breathe, right? You may need a manual to be able to eat at, specific, places, maybe at a food court or something, like, you just, eat. But I'm sure if you find yourself in, like, like a place like where it's more like, formal, like the way you eat and drink and dress and approach, conversations, would be a little bit different from maybe if, you are in the park with, your friends, right? So you could, so people like may want to write sort of like, manuals for formal, dinners, something like that. So but you don't need a manual to be able to walk or, drink water or, something. But some of the things are reusable in general, right? So that's it. I'm a little bit, I think time is gone. Maybe we could, use another 5 minutes to go over this. So we've also been talking about open weight, models. So the models are mostly here at a place called HuggingFace, right? So HuggingFace, I think it's huggingface.co or huggingface.com or so. So the models are stored here. They have specialized, storage, right? That allows them to really store this very big, models. And of course, we need a place to be able to deposit, all these things, there. All right. So it's like a library. It's like a library, for models, right? So any model you're looking for, so far as it's, like open source, open weight, or it's available. Sometimes closed ones may be there, but then you may need specific, licenses to be able to do things, right? So if you go to Hugging Face, there's the model, section. You click it, you could search it. You could just search it and get everything you need, from here. There are data sets, as well. So there's some data sets they use for training and evaluation and all those kind of things. There are spaces. I don't really know what the spaces are, but I guess it's for sort of like, hosting, website. I can't remember when BioMe, came out, fresh. They were running something called Gradio. And I would guess that they were, using HuggingFace, spaces. So basically, if you, create a machine learning, like application or something, and you want to like host it or serve it to other people around the world to be able to use it, you can easily use, the spaces to be able to deploy it quickly and get users and feedback, as well. So this is just the definition, of it. And this is, how, the spaces look like. And with that, this is the end of today's session. This is your homework. Try it on something like a different file, and drop us a feedback, and we would build on this. But just take a pause, look at it. Just look at this. This is it. This is it. Or you can even deploy this on Claude, managed agents. Yep. Humphrey.
Yeah, thanks so much. I want to find out um, for the models on Hugging Face. Yeah, is it possible to download them and work with them locally, or it has to use an API or another medium for doing some of these things? I don't know if you can highlight what Hugging Face can be used for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible to download it. Download it from Hugging Face onto your computer. There are thousands of models there. So let me search for something for you. What is the smallest language? What is the smallest, but useful language model on Hugging Face, right? Someone would say Gemma, Gemma 4, right? But I don't really know. Gemma is kind of big. What is the smallest useful language model on Hugging Face I can download and run locally on the laptop? All right. It's gig RAM, right? Yeah, let's see. On an 8 gig RAM laptop. Give me three, it's like, it's like the 1.5 or 1.3 terabyte. The model, like the size of it is like 1.3 terabyte or so, if I'm not mistaken. Inkling, I don't know the size of Inkling, but I think Inkling may be more than Inkling may be more than all right, so you could try it on Thinker, which is the like inference platform. There's the model card. I haven't really read the model card, but you could also go to Hugging Face and see if you could get it. Okay, so Inkling small, this is it. You can use the model. There are libraries you could use to use the model. We would look at something else, like maybe later. I think it's called inference, right? Right. Okay, so that's just by the way. And then you could run it locally using some apps called VLLM, SG, Lang, and other things. You could also download like an app called Olama on your Mac, and basically helps you run this local model. But let's take a look at the size. I don't know if I can find this. Does anyone know what the sizes are? Like the size of the model in terms of gigabyte or something? I don't see it. but it's been downloaded 2,000 times. It just came out, I think, yesterday or so.
Wow.
And well, that's the size. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's the file size. 532 gigabyte.
Mm.
It's not small, it's large. And like this is the model, right? This is it. So when someone says like, like a language model, this is it. This is it. You could, take a look at it. These are all the safe tensors. I don't really know what safe tensors are, but this is the index of all the safe, tensors. And tokenizer. Okay, so these are the attention weight. Hey, wait. Yeah. So this is the index of, I think, the files. And then these are the files. These are the files that you download into like a folder. You put them all together, it's like, 532 gigabyte. I don't think you could open this. Are we? Let's see. Oops. Yeah. So it gives you an information about like, the tensors. We could look at what tensors are. But this is the shape, the values in it. What is the, level of, precision? I think precision is sort of like the number of decimal points, so. All right. Yeah. So like, don't be scared about some of these things. um, this is the file you'll be downloading, and then the reason why you need some of these, libraries is for you to be able to take all these files and get it in a form like, ChatGPT. uh, okay. Okay. So there is, yeah. So there is Llama, yeah, 3.2, 3B instructs. There is, Quint instructs 2 gig. Tiny LLM, 5, 4 mini, Gemma 3, 4 gigabyte. Sometimes you have to quantize them. And the easy way to run it is to use maybe like a package, called Llama. You could download it on your Mac. You could also use LM Studio. Um, Especially if you need like a graphical user interface. And that's it. So another, maybe like, homework is to maybe try downloading like, tiny LLM, tiny llama 1.1, B. See if you could download it, do inference, run it, and see. This will teach you a lot so that when you have like your GPUs, you could run bigger ones. Yeah. So, you know, still here for questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So some
Yeah.
it means it's possible to have these modules uh localized, right? To perform a specific task and all of that. Right. So we can have our personal Claude, personal ChatGPT.
Yeah,
Is that
you
what
could
you
have your yeah, you could have your personal chat GPT. I think the only worry is that like your personal chat GPT, like these models, I have personally tried to use like NVIDIA Nemotron. So the NVIDIA Nemotron is one of the it's probably the same. it's one of the open source models. But that's quite. It's also quite large.
Well,
You need GPUs to run. That's why I'm trying to get Earth frames to really donate some GPUs for us. But there
yeah.
is also the smallest version, Nemotron 3 Nano. It's supposed to be like a really small model. But let's look at the size, right? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, 66 gigabyte. It's great. It's not as bad. And then there is also one for biology related stuff. Right. I think I tried using this, but the level of accuracy, it's not like the same as when you use like GPT 5.6 so or something. Um, but yeah, people also think like it's the way you sort of engineer um the tools around it, and that brings about the word harness, right? So the way you engineer like the frameworks around it, it matters more than the model you yet to see. But as the interest in the community to really push for open source model grows, um, yeah, you might be able to run some of these models on your laptop. This is the speech, something. If you want to use, something different from, Grok voice, you could use, I guess, this one. But uh, I think, Grok, voice gives you like maybe like higher accuracy compared to Neutron speech, which is also tricky because they are, selling the, pick and shovels, to some of these, models. Like they are selling the building blocks, the GPUs to Grok, right? It's like a wholesale business, selling things to like a retailer, and a wholesaler is also on the markets directly, like competing with the retailers, it's sort of like compete in a way. But I'm sure they can do better. Maybe they have to leave, the space to other people, like Kimi, military. So you could you could run your own ChatGPT on your machine, but the accuracy may not be the same. But I think that's where we're getting to, like high accuracy. Yeah. Any other questions? Interesting question, like really good questions. Like you're really thinking about the future of everyone of us. Lucis, any contribution? Philip, I'm not sure we've met. How about you, Kofi? Okay, so with that, we could really call it a day. Humphrey and Benis, if you could stay on the line for us to discuss like a few things, I think that'd be great. But with that, thank you all for coming for today's session.
Sam,
Yep.
I want us to talk about um, our means of communication because we need to communicate with everyone and then send in reminders. So I appreciate if everyone can actually join our WhatsApp community and also follow us on LinkedIn. Those links are in the chat now. Please do that for us so we're able to communicate easily. All right. I think a lot of people are showing interest, but then we need to create that community because sometimes finding yourself in the community will help because we
Right.
keep sharing opportunities and all that on WhatsApp. And I think people who join us online should benefit from some of these things. So
Yeah.
opportunities for other things, Biome, API credits, opportunities for jobs in AI. Yeah, I think these are some of the things that would also want to keep um, our, our online participants abreast with. And then frequently, we try to do something, this way, such that people get to receive updates. You can just be on WhatsApp and then you have like the most freshest update on Claude AI, agentic AI, anything about OpenAI, anything about Claude, other platforms, any exciting thing that someone sees about this, we are able to catch it early. So, and treat everyone to please join us on WhatsApp so they are updated. Yeah, we want to make this very, very, very important and beneficial to everyone. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Humphrey. Thank you. Yeah. So please, give us a follow on, LinkedIn, and also, join the WhatsApp group. There is Claude, and ChatGPT access that, we all share. If you want to try, some few things, and you don't really care about, like, you're not really concerned other people will see it, that's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah. So there's a WhatsApp group. We post things there. Follow us on, LinkedIn, as well. And we'll be creating, like, there is also like a Twitter, group, as well. And yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. And I would love, your contributions, like, everyone, like, sometimes what you think about some of these things, like, yeah. If it's also, too fast or, too slow, just let me know, and then maybe I could pace myself. But I think moving forward also there will be, maybe like assignments, for you to also try your hands on some of these things, because if you don't try it, if you don't practice it, like, nothing is learned and nothing gets, done, as well. Um, yeah. And I'm sure there'll be, businesses formed out of this as well. So, as you could see, like, you could go to your boss right now and say, boss, I can build you a voice agent to help students schedule things with you. Right. That's it. You could go to Moving and be like, hey, I can build a voice agent for, complaints that people may have. And that's it.
Yeah. Something found outside science.
Yeah, yeah. You could, start being, very useful.
Yeah. So we're glad to have everyone. Yeah, we can actually collaborate on things. Yeah, so many things underway and all that. Yeah. And if you have to invite
Right.
people, if you know people you want to invite, please invite them to join our platforms. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, please, everyone, enjoy your weekend. Look forward to catching you next week, same time, 2 p.m. GMT. And then, yeah, thanks.
Thanks. Um, can we begin our session, Humphrey? Maybe.
Sam, I think you're still recording. Can you end the recording?
Well, I thought I ended the recording.
No?